Okay, so hi everybody, welcome back to our Knowledge of Oneself conferences. This week, we're teaching you our seventh conference, which is called the Conjurations, Berlin, Magic Circle, Jupiter, and Pentalpha. The other six previous conferences, you can watch them in our Facebook website, or you can also watch them on our YouTube channel, because we are also starting to upload the videos there, so you can watch them at any time. So this topic for today, probably it's the first time that we're gonna talk about something called conjurations. We were talking about the dimensions before, astral projection. We were talking about the pillars of this knowledge before. But this conference, I consider it to be really important because most people don't know how to deal with this sort of things in their inner work. And it's very necessary to learn different ways of protection, like to protect ourselves from any types of attacks. Can be physical or mental, or even in the astral realm, right? Okay, so let's start. So as I said, it's really important, super essential for following this path of self-realization, of the liberation of consciousness, to protect oneself. Why? Because during this process, we are freeing our consciousness from our ego. We know that, as we said before in other conferences, ego has trapped all those sparks of consciousness, and we cannot access the wisdom of our real self because ego is always there trying to deceive us and showing us things in ways that are not the real way, So as we start freeing consciousness, like liberating the consciousness in our process, we will notice that also as we raise our, let's say, in terms of metaphysics, like vibration, when we're raising our vibration, we're also very kind of sensitive. We can be feeling even more attacks because there are certain forces or entities around us, or that maybe are kind of attached to us in an astral way or in some way, and we don't know it, and we're actually like saying to these inner negative forces that we have, that we possess, that is our ego, like, all right, stop, I'm going to change, I'm going to transform myself. I don't need any more anger on my life. I don't need any more lust in my life. So as far as we start with that process of transforming, like transmuting our minds, our perception of reality, also there are certain forces around, like linked to us, that don't like this, that they feel kind of threatened by the new energy, the new vibration that we are getting. So they will also start attacking us. And there are also many reasons. Maybe sometimes it's just like a witch, or like someone else, like doing it at night, like looking for some energy to take from someone, and then they attack you. Because as we are also changing our perception towards sex, we know that we're not wasting our energy as we did before. So that energy is like so powerful and is so needed that all these entities, like, they love stealing that energy. So those types of attacks and many other types of attacks are going to be taking place during the self-realization process, right? So it's really important to protect oneself. All right, let's start first with the conjuration of Berlin. Okay, This conjuration in particular removes away negative forces from the environment. So if we say negative forces, we refer to something like larvae, black magicians, negative entities, negative energies around us that are so common nowadays. So this conjuration is especially good for that. Even if we kind of live all together with entities or like negative forces and we don't notice them, this can also help us with that. And as I said before, they will feel threatened because they are used to live in that space or close to you or close to someone else that lives in the same place. So this will be like a really, really, really important tool for you to use. So we need to be, okay, let's talk about like the requirements. Like these are requirements that you need in order to actually achieve this conjuration in a very good way. We need to be concentrated in our heart. You will notice that many of the practices that we teach you are saying that we actually need to be focused or concentrated on our heart or heartbeat. Okay, so without being distracted. While we're doing this, it's super important to have your mind calm, to think about just what we're doing at the present moment. Yeah, it's like apply all the mindfulness that you know on this. So without being distracted or having any thoughts or feelings at that time, we're just carrying out this. We're just casting this conjuration and of protection. This is what I'm doing. So do not let other thoughts of past, future, or whatever you're doing to come to you. Okay, so super concentrated. And also not doing a different activity. So if you're doing this conjuration and maybe you're kind of, I don't know, cleaning something in your room or putting your shoes on or doing anything else, it's not a good idea. Because as I said before, you need to be really concentrated on what you're doing. And that sets like a real environment in your inner world to actually do this in the right way. Yeah, so that is a huge difference when you do this concentrated and not concentrated. All right, so once we do this kind of mindfulness, when we are aware of our inner worlds or thoughts, we know that we're ready and concentrated. We start saying it. Well, in fact, it's more like a chant. It's kind of a chant, like singing. It has like a very specific way of like pronouncing this conjuration. As you see it here, you say it 3 times. It's the same paragraph, but by three times. And all of that has a meaning. We will see that later. But I'm gonna sing it to you so you know how it actually sounds, right? And if you look at the picture, you see where you need to focus on. Again, your heart. So really important to focus on your heart. So it will be like this. Berlin, Berlin, Berlin. And for our salvation, I would like to be close to you. Materialism has no power next to me. Berlin, Berlin, Berlin. Right? So you said that 3 times. Okay? So the one that I said, that I just chanted, and 2 more times. Okay? So we say 3 times, and as you see, it's exactly the same words, all the same words. Berlin, Berlin, Entrance of salvation, I would like to be close to you. Materialism has no power next to me. Berlin, Berlin, Berlin. So you might be thinking about the word Berlin, like what is that? That sounds weird. Yeah, I know. It has a meaning. Berlin, it refers to a tower that is made out of fire. So it's a tower of fire. What tower of fire are we referring to here? Well, if you look at the picture, maybe it's not very like visible, but we're talking about our spine. That's our tower. And if we say fire, it's because the waters that we have, we said that we talk about this in previous conferences, the sexual waters that we have in our instinctive center, there, along with the suprasex practice that we're going to teach you, we're going to actually take our energy, sexual energy, throughout our spine and take it up. Like, instead of just like throwing our energy, as I said many times before, we're gonna take it through the spine and take it until here. So that is the fire that we're referring to for the tower of fire. So that's why in the picture you see the spine. Okay, we don't see the fire there, but the fire will be like within the spine. Okay, and as you say this, you know that you're focusing on your heart, but also you need to be kind of sending vibrations or like rays that are coming out of your heart, as you see in the picture. Yeah, so they can be like golden, or they can be like maybe the color of your heart chakra, whatever you feel it's like better, that you can actually with your conscious imagination see what it is like. But it's important to focus on our hearts. So every time I do it, I kind of imagine that there are like rays or like vibrations, like the sound vibrations, kind of like that cannot be visible to the naked eye, but you feel it. Okay, so all of them come from your heart. And even if you ask people who have some sort of maybe clairvoyance or any type of these let's say abilities, they can actually see what is going on there. So I'm not saying that I'm like clairvoyant, but I kind of perceive something that happens at the time I am doing it. I see that there is like a vibration or like rays, as I said before, that are going in different directions. I do it with my imagination, because remember that if you imagine, you create. Everything that you have in your mind, your thoughts, they create reality. So it's very important to have that in mind, that imagination. But the type of imagination that we're talking about is conscious imagination, consciousness that is working for consciousness, not for our ego. Okay, so you imagine that. Okay, as you see in the picture, all those like black dots are like representing the larva, because most of the places nowadays have larvae. We don't see them, but they are found in the astral plane. That's where you found it. So that's the Bell conjuration. You can start practicing it, and I can tell from my experience that this helped me like so much, because I have been feeling attacks like since I was very young, and I had no clue what to do at that time. It was so hard for me. And even at that time, I will tell my mom or tell like someone from my family about this, and they will be like, "Oh no, that's your imagination. That's not real." I was like, "It is real. I knew what I saw." So it's really helpful. This instantly helped me a lot with that. So I'm inviting you to actually practice it, and you can prove and confirm what I'm saying. Okay, now let's go to the magic circle. The magic circle of protection. Alright, so as you see, and the name suggests that it's a circle around you. So this magic circle of protection closes the space around you and keeps it protected. So this is different from the belly, because from the belly we are sending out like rays or vibes or like energy from our heart. But in this one, it's actually a circle around the area where you are. Okay, so with the ballerine, you clean the space, you clear it from the negative larva or entities, forces. And now once it is clean, this is helping you to surround you with the space that you already cleaned. So it's cleaned and then closed, protected. We need to be concentrated. So again, requirements for this one. We need to be concentrated in our hearts again, without being distracted by any thought, and without doing a different activity again. So I know it's sometimes very hard, but starting to actually being aware, like when we're actually talking about being conscious, is also about this. It's not only about seeing invisible creatures or invisible beings from other dimensions. No, it's also related to you. How aware or how conscious are you every time you're like carrying out your daily activities? Are you actually is your mind actually there in the place where you are when you're working or reading something or cooking or cleaning your house? Are you actually there, or is your mind just flying away to the future, planning things for another time or going back to the past? So that's the kind of mindfulness that I'm talking about when we do this, and many other practices. So we know that we need to be really concentrated on this. Like, my purpose here is to surround me with this energy to protect me. So I'm not actually like tying my shoelaces or cleaning something or combing my hair. No, just doing this. All right. So with confidence and strength. So this one, the other one, I will say that also you need to feel like confident when you're doing it and not like nervous or afraid or not secure. But this one, I would say that maybe it requires a little bit more of confidence and like strength when you're saying it. Also, you need to imagine each word, as I said before, because imagination is creation. Everything that you imagine, you create it. So, this conjuration will sound like this. This is not a chant, it's not a song like the Berlin, but this is just said like a normal praying or conjuration. So it'll be like this: Father of mine, Lord of mine, God of mine, I beg you with all my heart and all my soul to command my elemental intercessor to draw a light green magical circle of protection around this. So you say around this room, you choose the place, around my bed, around my house, around my apartment, around this living room, whatever you want it in your space, in your house. Okay, in order to protect me from any evil forces. Elemental intercessor, elemental intercessor, elemental intercessor, do your work in the name of the Christ, by the power of Christ, by the majesty of Christ. Right? So you say it like this. You see, that is like I said, with kind of a strong voice, strong pitch of my voice. And at the end, so you can actually create this circle of energy, you're going to pronounce this mantra, the S mantra. So it will be something like this. Okay, I finished saying all the conjuration, and now I'll go with the S. Okay, so that means that S is connected to the fire, right? It's connected to the fire, this mantra S, but we will see that later. Another important thing about this is when you're saying this S sound, you're doing it with your imagination, you're imagining yourself concentrated from your, like, feeling your heart. And there is something that we mentioned here that is called the elemental intercessor. That elemental intercessor is a part of our being, okay? Who has all the wisdom from nature. So as we went through all the different kingdoms of nature until we get to the human kingdom, we're actually going to talk about this in the next conference, the evolution and involution. And this part of us, of our being, who has this wisdom of the other kingdoms of nature, let's say that it doesn't obey us, like me, this physical form, it doesn't obey me. So it must be commanded by the Father. The Father has the power and the wisdom to actually conjure this elemental intercessor, which is a part of us. Okay? So when we chant the mantra S, we must imagine a bright green light, like, let's say, like an emerald, that kind of green. So surrounding the perimeter or the area where you are, or the area you want to protect. Always, don't forget this, always in a clockwise direction. So you will do it, okay, from the video it's hard to show you, but it's always following like the movement of the hands of your clock. So it's clockwise direction always. So this elemental intercessor, every time I do this conjuration, I kind of imagine, like, being very concentrated in my heart. I feel that this intercessor, elemental intercessor, is coming out from me, like on top of me, and it's casting fire, like the green fire or a green energy around the space that I want to protect. So just to you bear in mind, you remember, when you do this, also try to imagine like this wisdom, or at least like wise part of us, that is coming out of your physical body, and it's like sending this green light around that space. And you can, in your like imagination, you can also see like the energy like going around you and making like a bubble, or like, let's say, like a semi circle, like in the picture. You can imagine it in both ways, yeah, but it always needs to be like kind of closing all the area around you. So if you're sitting down, like below, on top of you, like the ceiling, yeah, like the top of the bubble, you need to imagine that. With this one, I would say that I have perceived the green color around my room, because when I do it, sometimes, let's say I do it in my room, around my room, and I see the color around it. Like, if I'm very like concentrated or meditating or doing another practice, and I kind of open my eyes, I see the green light or the green color around. So it's really nice. Also for people with more perceptions of these planes, different dimensions, they can actually see it. And some people even say that they hear the sound, like a permanent sound all the time where the person is inside. So just try it out and see that if it helps you, it should help you, because it has helped me, and as I said, other people as well. And it's really powerful, and it keeps all those negative forms, negative forces away from the place, because you already cleaned it and now you're protecting it, so they're not allowed to come in. All right, let's go to the Jupiter conjuration. So just to clarify a little bit, the previous ones are, let's say, protections for kind of indirect attacks. So we don't know if we're gonna be attacked. We don't know if the attack, where the attack is coming from. We don't know who is it, where is it. Yeah. So it's just like a kind of doing it just in case someone is going to attack. But with this one, I would say that this one is like a direct response to an attack. So that's the main difference. So this conjuration serves to defend us from different attacks, and these attacks are direct, as I said before, direct attacks, so that you know where it's coming from, like, or maybe you can perceive who is it, or maybe you know if it is maybe standing in front of you or next to you or close to you. Okay, so we know where it's coming from. And also it helps to conjure false masters. So sometimes people, I've seen lots of people saying that in their dreams, or like in the astral like dimension, they kind of see masters, and they see Buddha, they see Jesus, Shiva, I don't know, many other masters that are talking to them and like actually teaching them some stuff or giving teachings. But we need to be careful with that, because as this is a molecular world, in this dimension all the things are kind of measured by molecules. So we know that molecules can transform, they can change their form, so they can actually be different people trying to disguise as masters and teach you things that are maybe not really conscious. So we need to be very careful with that. There is a story from someone that is following like these teachings, these studies, and this person said that he saw a master in his dreams, but he conjured the person, and it disappeared. So he felt that that person that was disguising as a master just like felt scared and ran away and disappeared. So he could prove that it was not a real master. It was maybe a witch or someone else trying to deceive that person. So it's really important. And how do we take this to the astral dimension? Well, we know by the law of correspondence, that is, we're talking about the hermetic principles, and it says that as something is below, it is also in a higher, let's say, position, you know. So as it is up or high, it is below. So if it's inside, it is outside. Or if it's outside, it is also within you. So what I'm trying to say is that if you practice this many times, maybe during the day, when you feel like maybe you're going to get an attack, a mental, because sometimes we can receive like mental attacks, and that works in a way that they're kind of putting like a fixed idea or a fixed concept in your mind, so that that concept is not letting you or do certain practices, or not doing like whatever is helping you to awaken your consciousness. I have also perceived these attacks, and many other people has also reported these attacks because they're real. And actually these low frequency beings or people that work with the Black Lodge, they tend to do this a lot. Every time they see someone is actually starting to get stronger in their like consciousness process, and they kind of attack in a very subtle way, that is through a mental attack. So every time we may be feeling this, or we can also use this one for the physical world. I'm gonna give you another example. Every time we feel like we can do it in a different situation, everything that we do here in this 3D realm, in this 3D dimension, we will also doing it there in the astral dimension. So for someone who is not working on maybe his consciousness, her consciousness, like an average person that is not looking for the liberation of consciousness, they kind of have very distorted and very weird dreams. But also, they will be repeating exactly the same routines that they have in the physical world. I have also proved this. That if I'm not really aware throughout the day, like not self-observing myself, my emotions, my thoughts, what I'm doing, I kind of start doing exactly the same as the things that I do here. So if say I'm a teacher and I'm kind of working with the kids, I'm teaching them and whatever, I'm doing actually the same there, and I saw it, and that's crazy, I know, but these are things that have been proved by many people, not only by me, and you can do it as well. So by this law of correspondence, everything that you do here in this 3D dimension, you will actually take it also to the 5th dimension or 4th dimension. You will do the same. So that's why it is so important to awaken consciousness here first at the 3D, let's say the 3D level, to start also being aware on those levels of consciousness or in those dimensions. We will see that. And it's really important then to practice it so you can achieve that. So, requirements for this one. Concentrating your heart again. That's the key. So remember all these conjurations we're teaching you for protection. You need to focus on your heart. Like concentrate on your heart. The sound of your heart, movement of your heartbeat. And also without being distracted by any thought, any emotion, any memory, or without doing a different activity. You will cover your solar plexus with your left hand. So this is my left hand. It looks like the opposite on the screen, but you cover it. And where is the solar plexus? Well, if you can see in the picture of this little guy here, he's putting his left hand next to like in the stomach area. Yeah, let's say like in the stomach area. But the difference, maybe I can say that it's kind of covering just one part, and then it's next to the navel. You see the navel there, but not on top of your navel, like just a little bit on the left side. Okay, there is your solar plexus. And next, you're going to raise your right hand. Okay, right hand. So the position for the right hand will be this. So you lift your thumb, index, and middle finger. They will be up like this. And you fold down the ring and the pinky. So I know you have seen this mudra in many different maybe pictures. Alright, so once you have your left hand on your solar plexus, your right hand like this, you're going to start actually chanting this conjuration. Okay? You need to imagine each word. Imagination is creation, remember, so it's really important. And we're going to repeat the procedure 3 times, the entire procedure 3 times. Okay? So the mantra, let's say the mantra that helps us here is Tevigus Koslim. Okay? And when we say that word, we will imagine a ray that is coming out from these 3 fingers. Okay? So, let's try it. Right. So, left hand on my solar plexus, that is kind of the left side of my navel. And you raise your right hand in this position, like this mudra. Okay? So, it would sound like this. In the name of Jupiter, Father of all gods, I conjure thee. Tevigus Coslim. So if I set Tevigus Coslim at that point, you imagine a ray of light coming from these 3 fingers. Actually, if you look for pictures of Jesus, some pictures are showing him doing that, like raising his right hand, and there is actually like a ray or something, like a light coming out of the fingers. So that's what we're looking for. Okay, so remember, we do that 3 times. Okay, 3 times. Did I forget something? Right? Yep. Okay. So it's very important, the imagination, as you see. I have also felt when I'm doing that, I feel like a little vibration of energy, like around this area of between or among the 3 fingers. So I can actually feel like something is coming out of there. It's obviously your energy, so it's coming out of there. So you do that also clockwise. Okay, very important. Clockwise. And 3 times. Okay. You say it. In the name of Jupiter, Father of our gods, I conjure thee, Tevigus Coslim. And then you do it. Alright, so before finishing, let's look at the pentalpha conjurations. Okay. Some people call it pentagram because it's mostly known as pentagram and not like pentalpha. But yeah, it's the same. Alright. Oh, something that I forgot to mention before. I was kind of thinking about it. In here. So this conjuration is special because, as I said before, you can use it not only on the physical world, but also in your dreams, in the astral dimension. Okay. So as more as you practice it, it will be easily also will be easily you will easily see it doing it in your dreams or in your astral in the astral dimension. Okay, so there are so many stories about this. I have used this also. Let's say in the physical world, some examples are like maybe you see that someone is approaching you and is kind of having bad intentions. Maybe it's going to steal something from you, or it's going to attack you, or maybe someone in your family or someone else around you is like having a super like strong anger attack and is going to beat you or hit you. You can use this as well, because when you're saying I conjure thee, what you mean is that you're conjuring the defect, the psychological defect of that person, of that being that is in front of you that is going to hurt you. Okay, so just to make it clear, when you say that, you're conjuring that specific, let's say, anger defect from that person, or that let's say someone is going to maybe attack you with a knife. Okay, so maybe that's an anger or like a killer defect. So you're actually conjuring that. Okay, you're not conjuring like the person itself, but just like the psychological defect. All right, let's keep going. So pentalpha. It's different from the others. This one, maybe the difference is that you can actually use it many times throughout the day and every day. There's no problem with that. So it is a protection for everyday life. When we leave our house, when we leave our work and we're going home, when we break the magic circle as well. So if maybe you were sleeping at night and you woke up in the morning and you made the bell and the circle of protection. And now what you can do is the pentalpha before you go out of the room and kind of break the energy field of the conjurations. So for this one I said it's different because you need to perform specific movements and also chanting mantras while you're doing that. Okay, the mantras will be claim Krishnaya, Govindaya, Gopihana, Vaya Vaya Vaya, Swaha. As you see, most of these sounds are coming from Sanskrit. Okay, but you can actually do it without the mantras, just the movement. But I will suggest it's better to do both at the same time. All right, so let's see here the movements. So in the first part of the mantra, claim, you're standing up as a pentalpha, like you're spreading your arms like this and open your legs. And then for the next one, the Krishnaya. Okay, for the claim, your palms need to be facing up, not down, up. Okay, so when you look at it, it looks like this, up. And for then the second step, the Krishnaya, you putting your arms up, as you see there, palms together and above your head. Okay. For the third step, Govindaya, palms are together again, but they're now in touch of the top of your head. The other ones were like you were raising your arms, but here is on top of your head, and your legs remain the same. Then number 4, Gopihana, you touch your shoulders with your hands like this, and you keep your legs the same position. In number 5, Vajrapaya, standing as a pentalpha, like in the first one, but the difference here is that your palms are facing the floor, like facing down. Okay, and the next one, that is the 6th, Swaha, your right arm crosses over like this the left arm. Okay, so in that way you're closing yourself. So claim Krishnaya, Govindaya, Gopihana, Vajrapaya, Swaha. Okay, and then you're doing all the movements. It's pretty simple. You just need to practice it. And I do this like many times during the day. Like every time that I go out, when I break my circle of protection, yeah. When I'm leaving from any other place and going back home, yeah, there are many ways of using this. When you travel, maybe it's not possible now, but just for later, you can know, you can actually do it. All right. Okay, so remember again, practice makes perfect. So at the beginning, it will be useful if the conjuration is too long, like for example, maybe the bellowing or the magic circle of protection, to read it, like maybe you can write it down, print it or something, and you can conjure it, saying it while you're reading it. Yeah, that's just while you're like kind of learning it by heart, and then you will see that you can actually say it without looking at any papers. It's just to practice it. And as I said before, this has helped me a lot. I'm talking about experience. I'm talking about facts. I'm not talking about guessing, or maybe I think this is like this way, or this is like I assume this. No. I'm saying this by my experience and by people's experience, because I have talked to other people and they have also said the same, that these conjurations have like actually helped them like so much. All right, so we finished for today, and I hope that this conference helps you if you're starting also with the self-observation process, the psychological death we talked about in previous conferences as well, all of these techniques are teaching you so you can start being more aware during the day. So as you start being more aware during your daily life, you'll start also being aware in the other dimensions, like in the astral dimension. And this is going to help you, protect you, to move around that dimension, or sometimes here in the physical dimension when you see like lots of dangers nowadays. Okay? Alright, so I hope this helps you a lot, and it will be interesting to see your comments or your experiences. If you can write to me and tell me like how was it, did it help you, what did you see, what did you feel, that would be really nice. Okay, and this is all for today, and next week we're gonna be talking about something really interesting that it's called evolution, involution, and revolution. That will be the next conference, and it's related to the samsara wheel. Okay, so hope this helps you, and I'll see you next week. Bye.